All right, so you're thinking about becoming a medical laboratory assistant. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really rewarding field.
Totally. And you're probably starting to think about those interviews, right?
Uh-huh.
Interviews can be a little scary, but we're going to try to help you out today.
Yeah, I think we can definitely give some good advice.
We're taking a deep dive into some real interview questions that are being used out there in the field.
Right. We've got some really cool insider info from the American Society for Transplantation.
AST. Yeah,
They're like, the leading organization for medical lab professionals.
so they know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see what kind of questions they've got for us. I was looking through them earlier.
Yeah, I think some of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's jump right into the first one. Can you describe your experience with laboratory equipment and procedures?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure you can think of every single piece of equipment you've ever touched, right?
Probably. Yeah.
But how do we answer that question in a way that's really going to wow them?
Yeah. We don't want to just like list off a bunch of names, right? It's about showing that you understand how the equipment is used and why it matters.
Okay, so it's not just like, I've used a centrifuge, I've used a microscope. It's more than that.
Right. It's about like painting a picture for the interviewer. Imagine you're explaining it to someone who's never been in a lab before.
Yeah, like my grandma.
Exactly. How would you make them understand why your work is important?
Okay, that's a really cool way to think about it.
So instead of just saying, centrifuge, talk about how you used it to separate uh, blood components for analysis, for instance.
Right, and how did that, like, affect a patient's diagnosis, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Connect the dots between the equipment, the process, and the impact it has on patients.
I see, it's like telling a story.
Exactly.
The AST actually gave a sample answer that went into detail about specific types of equipment, like centrifuges, microscopes, all the different types of testing. They really emphasized showing, not telling.
Right. Details.
Yeah.
They show that you've got real experience, and you're not just, saying
Well,
buzzword.
right, you've actually done the work.
Like, it's the difference between saying you can bake a cake and actually explaining how you, like, measure the ingredients and mix the batter and know when it's done.
Ooh, I love cake.
Me too.
But I get what you're saying. Okay, so we've got to showcase our knowledge, but in a way that's interesting and engaging.
Exactly.
Okay, on to the next question. This one's a little bit trickier, I think. How do you handle difficult situations or challenges in the laboratory?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes. I've definitely made my fair share.
We all have, for sure.
But how do we talk about those mistakes in an interview?
I think this is where you get to show off those problem-solving skills
Yeah.
and your ability to, like, stay calm under pressure.
Right, because labs are all about precision, accuracy.
Exactly.
So they want to know that you can still think clearly even if things go wrong.
Exactly.
So maybe don't tell the story about that time I completely messed up an experiment.
Well, I mean, it depends. It's not about hiding mistakes. It's about showing how you learned from them.
Ah, okay.
Like, did you figure out what went wrong? Did you come up with a new way of doing things to prevent it from happening again? Did you ask for help from a more senior colleague? Things like that.
So it's more about like how you bounce back from the mistake.
Exactly. Show that you can learn and grow.
That's important in any job, really.
Absolutely.
Okay, so to err is human, to learn from it is divine. But in a lab, there's a little more to it, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a bigger responsibility.
Patient safety and all that.
Exactly. And that actually really stood out to me in the AST sample answer. They really emphasized finding solutions that minimize disruption to the lab's workflow.
So it's not just about fixing your own mistake, it's about understanding how it affects everyone.
Right. It's about being part of a team and understanding that, your actions have consequences.
Okay, so it's a balance between owning up to a mistake and showing that you can learn and adapt and also keep the lab running smoothly.
Right. It's like cleaning up spilled milk, but also figuring out how to prevent spilling it again.
I like that. I'm getting hungry again. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This one is all about data. Can you give an example of a time when you had to work on a tight deadline in the laboratory?
Oh, yeah. Data is the backbone of everything in a lab. It's what makes sure everything's accurate and consistent and safe for patients.
Absolutely. Data might not be the most exciting thing, but it's super important.
It really is.
So how do we answer this question in a way that shows we get it?
I think it's about highlighting your attention to detail,
Okay.
your ability to, follow protocols carefully, and understanding why accurate record keeping is so important.
Should I just like list all the software programs I've used, like Excel or Specific lab software?
It's good to mention specific programs if they're relevant, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you have experience with, like a laboratory information system or LIS.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Those are pretty common in a lot of labs. But, focus on the principles of data management. Talk about ensuring data integrity, maintaining patient confidentiality, organizing information effectively.
So it's not just about knowing how to use the software. It's about understanding, like, the bigger picture.
Exactly. Like anyone can learn to use a spreadsheet, but it takes someone special to understand the responsibility that comes with handling sensitive medical data.
Right. Like you're dealing with people's lives here.
Exactly. And that's the impression you want to make on those interviewers.
Yeah, definitely. You're not just a data entry person. You're someone who gets the importance of it all.
Exactly.
Okay, question number 4. How do you stay current with developments in the medical laboratory field?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, science is always evolving, technology is always changing. It must be a challenge to keep up, even for someone who's been in the field for a while.
It can be, yeah. But it's also what makes it so interesting. This question is really about showing that you're passionate about learning, that you're not just, content with doing things the way they've always been done.
So how do I show that I'm a lifelong learner, as they say?
Well, you can talk about specific journals you read or conferences you've attended, for example.
Ah, okay. Show that I'm going above and beyond.
Exactly. Or, you could mention professional organizations like AST. That shows you're engaged with the field as a whole.
Makes sense. The AST sample answer also mentioned networking with other professionals. That's got to be helpful, right?
Oh, yeah. Networking is so valuable. You get to exchange ideas, learn about new trends, get insights from people who've been doing this for a while.
It's like you're learning from the best of the best.
Exactly. It shows that you're proactive and genuinely curious about the field.
So it's not just about textbooks and journals. It's about real-world conversations.
Right. It shows initiative.
Awesome.
Mm.
Okay, this next question might take us back to those stressful all-nighters in school.
Oh, no. I remember those days.
Yeah, me too. Question number 5. Can you give an example of a time when you had to work on a tight deadline in the laboratory? Ooh, deadlines.
Yeah. I think we've all been there, right? Whether it's at work, school.
Those late nights trying to get everything done.
Exactly. But how do we talk about those experiences in a way that's relevant to a lab setting?
Right.
Well, it's all about showing that you can handle that pressure, but still maintain accuracy and attention to detail.
Don't let the stress get to you.
Right. So think about a specific time when you had to, work under pressure in the lab.
Got it.
What did you do to prioritize tasks? How did you make sure everything got done on time, but, without sacrificing quality?
Right, right. The AST actually mentioned communication in their sample answer, like keeping the team informed about progress, any problems that come up.
Oh, yeah, that's huge, especially when you're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. Prevents misunderstandings, helps things run more smoothly.
It's like a dance, Everyone's got to be in sync.
I love that.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes the importance of teamwork, which is so key in a lab.
I can't do it alone.
No way. You're all working together towards the same goal.
So even when you're talking about your own experience, it's got to tie back to that bigger picture of teamwork and communication and quality.
Exactly.
All right, next question. This one seems pretty simple, but I bet there's more to it. How do you ensure accuracy and precision in your laboratory work?
Interesting.
Okay, we all know we're supposed to be accurate and precise in a lab.
Right, it's kind of the whole point.
Yeah. But what are they really looking for with this question?
I think it's about showcasing your, meticulous attention to detail,
Okay.
your understanding of those quality control procedures, and really just your commitment to getting it right every time.
Okay.
It's easy to just say, I follow the rules, but what are some specific things you do to minimize errors?
Right, we need examples.
Think about it. Do you double-check your calculations? Do you calibrate the equipment carefully? Do you participate in any quality control programs?
Ah, so even the little things matter.
Absolutely. It shows that you're serious about accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
The AST actually mentioned calibrating and maintaining equipment in their sample answer.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to make sure the tools you're using are reliable.
Exactly. It might seem basic, but it really speaks volumes about your work ethic.
It shows you care about getting it right.
Right. Remember, even small mistakes in a lab can have big consequences.
Yeah, you're dealing with people's health here.
Exactly. Your attention to detail directly impacts patient care.
It's like being a pilot. You know, you wouldn't want to fly on a plane if the pilot wasn't checking the instruments carefully.
That's a great analogy. It's about creating a culture of accuracy and precision in every single thing you do.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really seeing how all these questions are about more than just like technical skills. They're about your mindset, your attitude.
Absolutely. They're looking for someone who's reliable, responsible, someone who embodies those core values of the profession: accuracy, integrity, respect for the patients.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, it's not just a job, it's a responsibility.
I'm realizing that nailing these interviews is about more than just giving the right answers. It's about showing who you are as a person, and why you're passionate about this field.
Exactly.
Mm.
And when you come from that place, the answers will just flow naturally. Your enthusiasm will shine through.
That's good advice. Like, you're not just trying to get a job, you're embarking on a journey to make a difference in healthcare.
Exactly.
Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into these medical laboratory assistant interview questions.
It's been fun.
Before we wrap up completely, though, I'm curious, what stood out to you the most from the AST material?
Good question.
You know what really struck me? It's how much the AST emphasizes the human side of this job. Yeah, like it's not just about knowing the technical stuff. It's about communication, teamwork, actually caring about the patients.
Right, right. And it's kind of cool how these interview questions kind of hint at that.
Yeah, I see that.
It's not just about, like, can you follow a recipe? It's, do you understand that what you do really matters for people?
It's almost like being a detective.
Detective.
Yeah, like you're piecing together clues, analyzing evidence, helping solve these medical mysteries.
Oh, I like that. That's a good way to think about it. And it shows how, like, mentally engaging this work can be.
Totally. You're always learning, figuring things out, helping move healthcare forward.
Exactly. It's not just running tests. It's about thinking critically and being an advocate for the patient.
Wow, that's really cool. So, we started with a simple interview, but it's clear those questions can reveal a lot about a person.
For sure.
Any last words of wisdom for our listeners before they head into that interview room?
Let me think. I'd say, just remember, you've picked a career that can make a real difference in people's lives. Let that guide you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Be yourself, let your passion show, and you'll do great.
I love that. It's not just about getting a job. It's about, like, joining a mission to make healthcare better.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think we've given everyone a pretty good roadmap for those interviews. We've cracked the code on those tricky questions, talked about how to give great answers, and hopefully gotten people excited about this amazing field.
Yeah, I think so. It's been great chatting with you about all this.
Same here. And to all our listeners out there, good luck on your journey to becoming medical laboratory assistants.
We know you'll do amazing things.
And don't forget to check out the American Society for Transplantation.
Oh yeah, AST is a great resource.
Their website has tons of info, career advice, ways to connect with other professionals.
It's a great way to keep learning and growing in your career.
Couldn't agree more. All right, that's a wrap for this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you found this deep dive insightful and maybe even a little inspiring.
We had a blast.
Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.